My grandmother grew up in a very different time than what we are growing up in, and always taught and helped us understand how important it was to work really hard. And she taught us that whatever you put in your head, no one can take away from you, But at the same time, her vision of power and control was always still white. And so in her mind, it was like, you go to these people's jobs, you do exactly what they tell you to do, you do it well, don't ask questions, don't push back, don't just like whatever happens, it happens, but you just keep your head down and do the work.
Hey, it's Logan Renee of the SOULKATION podcast, a place where you will learn how to shape your own success, maximize your unique gifts, maintain your self-love, and so much more when we get back from thanking our sponsors. Are you ready to snatch your permission slip back and take charge of your life? Well, this podcast is sponsored by the #1 new release book, Never Ask for Permission Again. Grab your copy today by clicking on the link in the show notes. Ladies, it's time for the 2021 SOULKATION Retreat. I just want to be the real me. This retreat is about to be super live, and you could join us virtually or in person in Atlanta, Georgia on August 27th and 28th. Here's why we want you there. I want you to imagine a life where you like the woman that you are and you're able to forgive the woman that you were. And how do you think you will feel if you receive practical resources and tools that you can use after leaving the retreat to either start that business or apply for that next promotion? This is why we want you in those seats, because we're going to walk you through what it means to be the real you. And for those of you who sign up for the VIP experience, you'll be able to attend the exclusive gourmet networking dinner on Friday, August 27th with yours truly, me, Logan Renee. Seats are limited, so make sure you grab your ticket today at www.soulkation.com and get ready for a retreat full of giveaways, amazing speakers, and shocking surprises. I will see you at the retreat. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the SOULKATION podcast. I have the Krystal. Okay, it's a lot of Krystals, but this is the Krystal. Okay, she's going to introduce herself to the podcast. You all are in for a special treat. Krystal, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here.
Of course. Let them know like what it is that you started doing in your career and
Yes.
where you are now.
Yeah, so I am a trained teacher within the elementary segment of K-12 public education and became a school administrator by way of becoming an assistant principal and principal. And over time, transitioned into entrepreneurship full time by way of really a myriad of different experiences, some positive and some negative, that really thrust me into entrepreneurship. So, on the positive side, I recognized that there were certain skill sets for me as an educator that I loved more than others. Coaching students and coaching adults, designing learning experiences for kids and designing learning experiences for adults were the things that I really enjoy, as well as strategically thinking and planning things for my school space. Those were things that I translated into monetizing to build what is now a consulting agency that serves not just folks in the education sector, but nonprofits and businesses as well. And some of those negative experiences were actually me being pushed out of my principalship role in a very unjust way, and me recognizing that that was a very traumatic experience. It was very challenging emotionally, but it was the best blessing in disguise to help me realize that I wanted to create my own employment, my own working conditions, my own climate, and never again be placed in a position where I wasn't seen, valued, heard, and appreciated.
Mm, so many people feel that right now.
Yes,
I,
yes. And so, entrepreneurship became, as a Black woman, my pathway to emotional, financial, and professional liberation.
mm. And for those who feel like that's not possible for them, what would you say to them? Some people just don't believe that's their storyline because they did the right
Yeah.
thing. They went to school. They got
Yes.
a degree.
Same. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I would say that multiple things are possible at the same time. I valued attaining a college degree, and that manifested by way of pursuit of a undergraduate degree from a really great university, and went back to school to pursue my master's degree within a doctoral program right now as a candidate. And I value like formal learning spaces, right? At the same time, I recognize that I wasn't necessarily socialized to be an entrepreneur. I was socialized to be a good worker, particularly for white employers. My grandmother grew up in a very different time than what we are growing up in, and always taught and helped us understand how important it was to work really hard. And she taught us that whatever you put in your head, no one can take away from you. But at the same time, her vision of power and control was always still white. And so in her mind, it was like, you go to these people's jobs, you do exactly what they tell you to do, you do it well, don't ask questions, don't push back, don't just like whatever happens, it happens, but you just keep your head down and do the work.
Right.
And in a lot of ways, there wasn't necessarily room in that dream to say, what if we could be the boss? What if we could be the person in charge? What if we can create our own organization or institution that we live into on our own terms and still hit the metrics of success that are important to us. And I think in so many different ways, it's been really beautiful to see even her dream evolve,
Yeah.
because if she's alive today and she's watching all that has happened over time, it has blown her mind and given her so much pride to be like, we can do anything. Like we can do
I
anything.
love
You
it.
don't need to work for these people. Like so now she has great grands coming along, and I just watch the things that she tells them is so different. She said, wait, what you want to do, baby? Okay, you could do that. You could do it for yourself. So I love the intergenerational, way that things have come full circle.
Yeah.
And I think that that is the beauty of the liberation work, right? That liberation is not just about freeing yourself to think, dream, and imagine and manifest things, but it's also about how you are helping free other people
Yeah.
in the process.
Yeah. For sure. And we need each other.
We do.
We need their consistency, their hard work, their follow through.
Yes.
You know.
Listen, people
um,
feel all those things. I get so much from my grandmother,
yeah.
so much, and my mom as well. But I say all that to say that I didn't set out to be an entrepreneur. I set out to be an amazing educator.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, I'm still educating.
For sure.
I'm just educating to a different audience.
Yeah. In a different way.
Yep.
Yeah. I love that. It's so funny. I used to be in front of my cousins, like teaching them stuff I didn't halfway know, but I used to like love teaching them stuff, and they would
Yeah.
actually sit down and listen to me, even though I was younger. Like, I'm like, what are y'all doing? But my grandma came in the room one day and she was like, "You're gonna be a teacher." Yeah, like, no,
Yeah.
I ain't no teacher. They don't make no money. I need some money. And she was like, "No, you're gonna teach." But I am teaching, just in a different way. You know what
Yes,
I'm saying? Every time
yes,
I press play or pick up a microphone, I'm teaching.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You are all the time.
Okay, so when did you decide to jump? I'm actually reading a book called Jump, and it's just a book full of stories where people jumped.
Mhm.
When did you decide to jump?
Whew, baby.
Child.
I decided to jump when I realized what was in front of me was greater than what was behind me.
Help us. Help us.
You know,
Okay.
I think that for so long and for so many of us, what's in front of us is more frightening than what is behind us, which is what we already know. It's safe, it's comfortable, it's predictable, you know. And that can be, applicable to our personal lives and professional lives, or personal habits,
Mhm.
and have nothing at all to do with entrepreneurship. But I just think that the possibility of what things could be became more attractive of a risk that I was willing to take than going back into spaces that no longer fueled and fed me.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized it was time to jump.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. So you jumped.
A church moment, huh?
Okay.
She's like, it's a word in there.
So Crystal decides to jump. Is Crystal jumping by herself? Does Crystal have a support
Mm,
team? Did Crystal have a
so
plan?
good. That's good. That's good. You know, I made that leap with the emotional and spiritual support of my immediate family.
Okay.
So, my husband, my parents, my siblings, but I did not have technical support, much financial support. The technical support being like the knowledge of what to do,
Right.
right, and how to do it. The financial support in terms of like the capital it takes to actually found a business,
Check.
right? And I think the professional support as well. I didn't necessarily have someone coaching me on what to do, showing me how to cultivate clients, how to attain contracts, how to do anything. I, interestingly enough, am definitely my father's child because my dad is a self taught carpenter and he learned literally, like, he taught himself all the things and would get construction books and like read them. And to this day, like he watches stuff on YouTube and HUC, like he teaches himself all those things. He was never like formally trained in that way. And is one of the best carpenters I know. Like, really good biz, like people trust him, what he does, and he does good work. And it's probably not until this moment of talking to you that I realized that a lot of his love and like commitment to refining his craft is like in my DNA in the same way. Because when I'm not actively working, like my husband does this with basketball. He will watch old footage. He studies his opponent. He's watching ESPN, of course, too. Like his whole world is just basketball at all times, like YouTube and practice techniques, all that. If he's doing that, I'm doing the opposite. I'm like, ooh, this is content. This is good content. This will make for good content in a session. Like I'm watching people present, and I study. It's as wild as this sounds. I study Beyonce. I study big brands, like how they move and do things, and all of that observational study informed every step I took in business, literally until this year when I hired a business coach for the first time ever.
Mm.
So I feel like we are magical, not just as like black people, but as black women,
Yeah.
right? And part of understanding that is understanding the obligation. Come on, Black Girl Magic on your shirt. The obligation to share that with other people and to support other people. I started a coaching program for people who were interested in consulting because I didn't have anyone to teach me how to do it. And yet I had, with the help of a couple of people, the like the moment of realization that like you not only started a business, but you legitimately built a business and worked solo for 2.5 years in such a way that built a legitimate brand with like consistent ongoing work, right? And if you can do this by yourself, how much more can you do when you open it up and build an entire team, right? And doing that without formal training helped me understand that when you want something, right? And when you love what you do, you will always find a way to make it happen. You will experiment, fall on your face, learn, okay, that didn't work. Let me try this. You will study people. You will operate with emotional intelligence to understand, like, here is this person's pain point. How can I speak to that pain point? As a person of faith, you will pray and you will seek God. God, tell me what to do. Show me what to do, right? Send the right people my way.
Yeah.
Like it will all come together if it's destined to be. Because sometimes you can spend $50 million on all of these resources and tools, but if that's not what you're supposed to be doing with your life, it's not going to take off.
That's a word. That
If
is
that's not purpose and you're trying to like mimic what somebody else is doing, it's not going to prosper. You know, your work is more than work. It's connected to your anointing and your calling.
that's so true.
And it takes inner work to operate from your calling really well. It takes surrendering to do that. It takes listening, humbling yourself.
Yeah.
Because you want to get better.
Yeah. And for a listener that's saying, like, well, I thought I was supposed to be selling eyelashes. I thought I was supposed to be selling wigs, but clearly I'm not supposed to be doing that. What would you say to her? What would you say to her to like be able to sit down, hone in on what she's specifically supposed to do? Not what's
Ooh,
popular,
that's
not what's
good.
selling, not
That's
trying to
good.
start an Etsy store just because everybody got an Etsy store. What is she supposed to, how can she figure out what she's supposed to do?
I think that one, we have to pay attention to what gives us life.
Yeah.
And that life is what makes you joyful. What do you feel just happy about doing? What do you just love and you enjoy the most? Like you get a lot of fulfillment from doing it, right? I think that married with what you are skilled and strong at doing too, like that intersection is quite often gonna lead you to discovery of what it is that you are uniquely like created to do, right? And that's not connected to a specific product. It's not connected to a specific service as well. Like my purpose is not to consult. My purpose is to motivate, empower, inspire, and help transform the trajectory of people's lives. And I do that through consulting, but I also do that through philanthropic giving. I do that through my community service. Like I do it in a lot of different ways, but I'm clear on my why.
Yeah.
If anything is going to allow me to motivate someone else, I'm tapped in. If I can teach you this thing that's going to help you like launch your business, I'm tapped in because that's empowering you, right? I'm teaching you how to fish. And then sometimes if I give you fish and that fish that you're eating changes your life, I'm still tapping into, you know? And so I think that clarity around, and I know that those are things that I love and I enjoy, but I also know that those are things that I'm gifted at doing too, right? Because sometimes you can enjoy something, but you're not good at it. And sometimes you're not good at it because you're not disciplined enough to refine that gift. Sometimes you're not good at it because it's actually not what you're supposed to be like doing,
Yeah.
right? You have an interest in it.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are things that you are good at, but you have no interest in it. And
None.
then that becomes hard to even monetize from a business standpoint, right? So that's why I think that that intersection of like, what are you good at, but what do you also love is important. I
Yeah.
think a second big thing is prayer and seeking spiritual counsel,
Yeah.
so that you're not going just based on your logic, but you're going based on really the steering of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So you won't be like the children walking around in circles for
Yeah.
years when God is like, I keep trying to show you what you're supposed to be doing.
It's right
You keep
there.
trying to right, you keep trying to do it your way, and we're gonna keep walking around this mountain. So you learn that this is what you're supposed to be doing. Stop running from it.
Mm,
You know?
that's so good. So she's clear now, and she has jumped now.
Yes.
What does she do when she get her team? Because a lot of people don't know how to teach your team how to help the business. Like,
Real good.
how you do that? Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's real good. I think one, we have to really take inventory of what our needs are within the business, right? Like, I need social media engagement,
right,
right? I need a page to be run. I need content to be created. I need this, and that. I need financial management assistance, whether that's bookkeeping, I need invoices to be sent out, all those kind of things. But really taking an inventory of our needs, I think it's helpful because as a business owner, you have to be able to identify what do I know how to do and what do I have the capacity to do. And that capacity is around like my availability. Do I have the time to do it? Do I have the emotional wherewithal to do it? Do I have the know-how to do it? Am I
do I
the
want
best
to do
person
it?
to do it?
Yeah,
Exactly. Do I want to? Right. And then that helps you separate like what do I not know how to do? What do I not have time for? Like all of these different things. And then just realizing like you can't do it all yourself, not if you want to grow and scale. And so your needs assessment will lead you to figuring out what of these things can be outsourced. And that can be outsourcing to a person, right? A physical person, or it can be outsourcing to a system or a process,
right.
right? And putting either in play will make things more efficient. I'm at that point right now where, we are out of the startup phase and we're in the growth and scale. Well, we've been going through the growth phase, and we're literally trying to move from growing to now scaling, right? And that scaling requires systems in place, different, a process for this, a process for that. And we don't currently have those things. And we're trying to figure out the best system outsourced to do different things and then figure out what will be the best next full-time employment like role, right? So that it can free up Kayla's time and free up my time to focus on the things that like we just need to be focused on. So another person can focus on a different body of work, right? And make things run even more efficiently as we get so much influx of work versus like what is a system that just needs to be automated and put in place that's going to take care of that, you
Yeah.
know, problem. So I think part of it is like knowing what you need, knowing who you need to do it. Is that a volunteer? Is that a paid staffer? Does someone owe you a favor? Do you need to barter with somebody? Right? On down to how do you get clear on setting them up for success? A clear job description.
So clear. Can we freeze?
At the end of the day, okay, I would say at the end of the day, is really important to get clear on what your needs are.
Yeah.
What do you actually need help with? What needs to get done? What do you not know how to do? Who's best positioned to do that work? Right? So what needs to happen? But two, thinking about the who, is that an intern? Is that someone that you need to pay on a regular basis to do that work, and share in the work so that things can get executed better?
Yes.
Is that a favor that you need to call in to barter services with somebody? So there's a win-win on what you're providing for them and then what they're helping you with. But who is going to do it? Or is that a system that can be automated that can do it for you, right? I think the last piece is getting clarity on, on the people side, how you set people up for success. How is there a clear job description in place? Is there a clear way that you can provide feedback, both adjusting and affirming feedback? And is there a clear way to like evaluate? And I was saying on the last piece, that's what I'm just now putting into place now myself. So making sure that like as a business owner, there's a clear way to understand my role, understand our operations manager role, understand the consultant's role,
Yeah.
and it's just good practice. And these are things on the HR side that we know are in place in other institutions, organizations, and places of past employment. So as an entrepreneur, it's about how do you craft those things for your own organization too.
That's true. And paying attention to that before you leave your organization. Like I was ran. Yeah. I think that's what, let me change it. I know that's what God is showing me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even on payment, how much you're going to pay people and then what you can afford.
Very true. And being honest about that.
That's right.
Is there anything you want to leave with the women? Any advice about either jumping or crafting a team or knowing what it is that you wanted, what you want to do with your business or how to operate your business? Is there anything that you would leave them with?
A couple things. One is never be afraid to bet on yourself.
Come on.
Yep. Two is to take time and really inventory your skill sets and really determine which skill sets might best be able to be monetized. I think three is spending time really trying to identify who your target client or customer is and really get in their heads. Like, how do they think? What do they need? How do they make decisions? Because you want to craft your services or the products you have to them. Yeah. Like if there's not demand for it from them, and if they don't feel like they can relate to you, if they don't feel like you're speaking to them, they won't bite. They won't engage. You will have no business because you'll have no customers, or clients. So I think being in touch with them, really studying them is huge.
That's so good. Study your customers and clients. I love that. That's good. And where can everybody find you, follow you, find out more about your consulting services?
Yeah. So if you're on Instagram, you can follow at k.allen, ALLEN, .consulting. So it's at k.allen.consulting. If you're on Twitter, we're at k_Allen_consults. Look at my laptop making all that noise. So on Twitter, it's at k_Allen_consult. And you can visit our website, kallenconsulting.org. And so those would be the three channels, primarily for engagement.
Thank you. Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Sincerely. Thank you so much. Because she booked people, okay? Booked, busy. Well, let me change, not busy, booked and productive.
Listen, I like that because I've seen some memes talking about that, but it's definitely productive.
Yes.
Definitely. I got to get we got to do a screenshot.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all so much for listening to the SOULKATION podcast, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Don't forget to share this with your closest friend. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. My hope is that your soul just went on a vacay, and you have tools that you can apply to your life today. For more in-depth tools, head on over to loganrenee.com. Also, if you have questions that weren't answered on this episode, email your questions to Logan@loganrenee.com, and I'll answer them here on the show. I'll talk to you soon.